Welcome to Lunch and Learn. For those that haven't been before, this is a monthly webinar that we put together totally free of charge. However, there's a slight caveat to that, but I'll come on to that in a second. Totally free of charge. And it's our opportunity to give back. We've been hosting them for 5-6 years or so now. We used to do them in person. We used to get up to 70 people in a room. COVID knocked that on the head. So we moved online. We used to get 50 people online. And we've just carried it on every month. So thank you for joining us. I will introduce myself for those that don't know, but I think everyone on the call does know. I run 146. We've been around for 12.5 years now, I think, approximately. And we are a digital agency. So we build websites, we get them on Google, we run ad campaigns, we run social campaigns. That's pretty much what we do. It's a few bits below it, but those kind of four key things. Underneath that, you might have from a search perspective, we do a lot of PR based stuff, generate backlinks or just generate brand awareness. We do some design based work as well that fits in with some of the stuff we do. But those are the four kind of key things we focus on. And today we're focusing on search. But before we do, I'm going to let Rebecca introduce herself. Different colour hair than what's in her photo because it changes hourly.
There's 3 pictures of me on your computer at the moment, and I've got different colour hair in all of them.
Where's the third? Oh. Yeah, 4. Yeah. Hello, Amanita. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong, by the way, but welcome to Lunch and Learn.
So I'm Becca.
I will let you.
I do a lot of the internal marketing at 146, and I also look after some clients. I mostly focus on content writing, SEO and search, and some socials for some of our clients as well. That's what I do.
Cool, thank you. And in the background, we've got Chloe. Chloe, come around and introduce yourself. Come on.
Hello, I'm Chloe, and I also work here as a marketing exec, and
Cool.
I'm taking some clips today.
She's doing a lot of content today, so thank you very much. So she'll be behind the scenes. She's not taking photos of you guys because we can't even see you guys. She's taking photos of us. So whenever I go like this.
Yeah, we'll just stop talking randomly every so often and.
Yeah, we'll occasionally have our photo taken. No, we won't. But anyway, thanks for joining. So I mentioned earlier, this Lunch and Learn is totally free, but there's a slight caveat. It's not a caveat per se, but we like to support Cynthia Spencer. They're actually a customer of ours as well. And we like to support them where possible. So whenever we run Lunch and Learn, we say to people that after Lunch and Learn, you'll get an email with a Just Giving page. If you want to, we're not checking, it's totally voluntarily. If you want to donate, what would be a ticket fee of £2, £5, £20, whatever you want to Cynthia Spencer, we'd really encourage it. But as I said, it's your prerogative. But we do like to bring them up in the meeting. They do some great work in Northampton at their hospice. And we've kind of found that out even more ever since we've been working with them. We just rebuilt their website and we're working to improve their search presence as well. So that's out. By the way, before we kind of jump into this, as I said before, please ask any questions. We will try and address them either on the webinar or after the webinar. If it's anything that's kind of quite specific to you guys, or if it's going to kind of run on a bit, we'll probably address it after the webinar. But please do chat in the webinar. I think in the webinar chat, Rebecca's going to...
I'm here.
Yeah, kind of type away. I think you've got it all up on screen.
Yeah.
So cool. Right, so today's Lunch and Learn is all about how to rank higher on Google in 7 steps. There are 1,000,001 steps. There's not 1,000,001 steps. There's a lot of different ways you can rank on Google.
Yeah.
There's loads of different ranking signals, factors that will contribute to where you sit on Google. I've tried to kind of compile them into 7 steps. I really feel like you're staring at me.
I'm trying not to. I'm looking engaged. Look.
Yeah, I know, it's great. I really feel like she is. We've tried to bring them into 7 steps to make it so much easier for you guys, but there's so many different kind of offshoots of each of those steps, as I will come on to. And there's a lot we won't go into today. So over the next 7 or 8 months, we're actually going to cover each of these steps in a singular Lunch and Learn. So we'll go into so much more detail. So today I'm going to scrape the surface quite a lot, but I want to give you a bit of an idea as to some of the stuff you guys can do. And what's important for me is we put over stuff that you guys can physically do, and then it's over to you as to whether or not you want to farm it out. I know that there's companies in the room that do farm this kind of stuff out, but it's great for an understanding. But there is some stuff that you can do in-house as well. So moving on. There's one thing I've missed on here as well. I've just realized I'm going to put it at the end as an 8th point. So number one.
Surprise point.
Yeah, surprise point. Yeah. Number one is build a technically good website. And what I mean by that is make sure your website is good from a technical perspective. Now, I know there is a web developer in the room, Paul, welcome. But there's other people in the room today that aren't web developers. So this is probably the one thing that you would have to push over to your development team or your web developer, your agency you use. But I want you to, I think what's important is for you to identify what is a technically good website and the things that might be doing your website injustice, because these tiny things, like, for example, page speed, these things make a massive impact on where you sit on Google. Google will take these things into account. So I'm going to run through a few things now. So first of all, why is it important to make sure the website is technically good? Well, it's important for search. It's important for the user. Google ranks websites and makes websites appear that they believe the user wants to see based on their search queries, based on what they're typing in. It's nothing convoluted, it's nothing complicated. Yes, there's an algorithm behind it, and a lot of people don't really understand the algorithm in detail. Google tells us what the algorithm's trying to, rank the website based on. But Google, in the simplest terms, Google wants your website to appear, or wants a website to appear based on what the user's searching for. So if your website is the best website that delivers the answer to the user's question, Google will serve it. And that's as simple as I can get with it. So building a technically good website contributes towards that. And it contributes towards the user experiencing a positive experience whilst they're looking through your website. And all of this kind of contributes. My second point today is going to be about user experience. So I'm not going to jump into that in too much depth. But the things that you should be looking for with regards to building a technically good website or having a technically good website, first of all, speed. Making sure it is quick. It should be below 2 seconds in terms of load time. So we look for something called largest contentful paint when loading a website. And that's basically loading the majority of your website or majority of that page on a website. And that should be below 2 seconds. We want it to be mobile friendly. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying that in 2024, but there are still websites that we come across that aren't mobile friendly. It should be mobile friendly. Every website that we build, every website from reputable web developers that I know, they build mobile websites as well as desktop websites. And in 80-90% of the time, those stats aren't correct, by the way, I'm sure, but most of the time, you'll probably want to build it for mobile more so than desktop. But you need to look at, how many users have you got visiting your website off mobile? How many users have you got visiting your website off desktop? So it must be mobile friendly. And there's a stage further you can go with that, which comes into the user experience side of things I'll come on to shortly. It must be secure. Make sure you've got an SSL and make sure it's got a padlock at the top in the web address bar. Make sure it stays secure as well. So make sure it stays updated. Web developers, agencies, or your internal team can keep that up to date, especially if it's WordPress. Make sure there's no broken links. That's another thing to look for. You don't want to. So if you change the URL structure on a website, that particular web page, which may have been ranking on Google before, may then display a broken link. That's really negative. So you need to make sure those are addressed if need be. You might also have taken off old content, old blogs. Again, they will show broken links. So just make sure you redirect those. So, and then the final thing is site structure. Make sure that the site structure technically is good. There's other things you might want to look for, but they're some of the main things I would say when you're building or to ensure that you have a technically good website. You just want to make sure it's not broken. It works well. It's quick.
What's the most important one?
I would say site speed.
Yeah.
Site speed, making sure your website is as fast as possible. Yeah, they all have contributing factors. but making sure your website is as fast as possible is absolutely key. And that is one thing Google looks for, 100%. And there's a number of different things you can do to ensure that's the case. We build WordPress sites. We don't just build WordPress sites, but a majority of our websites are WordPress. And some of the things that I would recommend you do, make sure when you're uploading images, they're below 250, 200 kilobytes on average, I'd say. Try and get them as low as possible. But then you've got a trade-off with quality. You know, if we built websites for companies that want to display amazing, beautiful, crisp images, so you've got that kind of trade-off. Make sure there's caching in place. You might want to use a tool. So for WordPress sites, we use WP Rocket, which is a paid tool, but there are other caching tools, free tools that you can use to help speed up the website. And then you might want to use either Google PageSpeed Insights or something like, what's the other one? GT Metrics.
Right.
It's one we use
And
quite a lot.
Google's free, the page speed one, isn't it?
Google's free, GT Metrics is free as well. So you might want to use those two tools to kind of help determine how quick your website is. But for me, speed is absolutely key. The other things do play a part as well, but speed is the main thing. The second thing I want to come on to today is about user experience and focusing on the user and user experience. Now, why is this important? One of Google's ranking factors is when they click on your website from search, how long do you spend on there? Do you bounce straight off? Because if you don't spend very long on there, if you bounce straight off without engaging with the page, it's generally saying that this website isn't good based on the search criteria that you are inputting. So some key questions to ask here. What is your bounce rate? So bounce rate is defined by, is a percentage based on when a user hits a website, how quickly do they bounce off? Do they bounce off within 10 seconds? In GA4, I believe it's 10 seconds. Do they not do it? Do they bounce off within 10 seconds and not do anything? Not click anywhere, not engage with the site, and they just come straight off the page? How high is your bounce rate? Now, what is a, you can find this out within Google Analytics, by the way. What's a positive kind of bounce rate? Well, you generally won't get much below 20%. 40-ish, 40, 50% is about average for an SME, because you're going to get businesses bounce off. However, if you're dealing with landing pages, you might, especially off the back of ad campaigns, you might find that you have relatively either high or low kind of extremes, because if you're asking people to take action and they know they're going to take action when they get there, they're going to take action, they're not going to bounce off, your bounce rate is probably going to be pretty low. If it's something that doesn't carry much content, doesn't carry much weight, then you might find your bounce rate quite high. So it depends on the context of what that web page is used for as to whether a high bounce rate or a low bounce rate is positive. But in search, from a search perspective, you want as low a bounce rate as possible. But 40% is about where you should be, 40 to 50%, I'd say. You want to be looking at how long your users spend on your site and whether they're actually engaging with your site. How many pages do they visit? This is stuff you can see within Google Analytics. And you can take this data, look at your website, look at some of your competitor websites potentially, and improve the user experience, improve what people are engaging with. That might involve adding call to actions in certain places. One of the things we've done with the customer of late is we've added over the last 2 years, which has seen their search increased by 20% just over the last year, and they were getting good search volumes anyway. So to go from a standing start to like somewhere is quite easy. You get some big percentage increases, but to go from, let's say, 10,000, well, they were getting about 5,000 organic traffic a month, and adding 20% on top of that, so up to 6,000 plus, that's quite challenging. So to do that over the course of a year is great. That's really positive. And we did that by a number of different things, but one of the things we did, and actually to increase the number of leads that were coming through, we added better call to actions. So it kept get people on the website longer. We saw the bounce rate decrease. We saw the amount of pages that people visited increase because the call to action was there straight away in people's face. They clicked on it, they registered an inquiry, done. So how long are the users spending on the site? How many pages do they visit? These are all questions you need to ask yourself. And all of this comes into how positive is the user experience. Now, when it comes to user experience, you need to make sure, the key thing here is you need to make sure that it is as easy as possible for that user to do one of two things: either find out the information they're looking to find out, whether that's from an article, a blog, a service page, and or take action off the back of it. That's it. You know, within reason, that is it. You might have a couple of things on there, a couple of call to actions, a couple of different call to actions. But in essence, that is what you're looking to achieve. And there's a number of different things you can look at on your website to improve user experience. So one of them might be having an easy navigational structure. Have a look at the structure of your website. How easy is it for people to navigate around your website? And the best thing to do in this scenario is ask people within the business that are external to marketing, ask some of your customers, ask family, friends, how easy is it to navigate around your website to find out what you want to kind of find out? I do a lot of research around SEO and different SEO tools, different SEO products. And I found one the other day from someone that had tweeted it, and tweet a thing, X'd it.
You can't say, yeah,
You can't say tweeted.
you have to still say tweeted.
Tweeted,
Otherwise,
yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Tweeted it on X, and I went onto their website. I found something that I was quite intrigued by, because I download various guides around SEO and search and whatnot, just to see how other people are doing it, because I want to educate myself further if there's something that I don't do and they do. And I was clicking through their website, and they were a major player in the search industry. I can't remember who they were now, that major. And I clicked on a button, it went through to a 404 page. And I'm like, oh my God, like, how does this happen? You're a search agency, what are you doing? So make sure stuff works, make sure it's easy enough for people to kind of work their way around the website, make sure it's clear and organized. Two things you can do is look at your competitors, how they do things. And secondly, ask people what they'd like to see, how easy it is navigating around the website. Yeah, I think focus on user experience.
Yes.
That's absolutely key.
So would you be able to use like Google Analytics to help you find out that specific information, like links that aren't working and how big your bounce rate is, stuff like that?
Things like your bounce rate, yes. Google Analytics won't display bad links, I don't believe. Not something I've done within there. But there are tools that will. So we use a tool called Ahrefs. I call it Ahrefs. I think other people pronounce it
Ahrefs.
Ahrefs, yeah, I call it Ahrefs, but
I say Ahrefs.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a paid tool. They do have free versions. One thing you might want to use is something called SEMrush, SEMrush, RUSH. That's got a free version. It allows you to plug in your website, essentially put in your website, and it will show any broken links, anything that's not working per se. There are other tools out there that I might come on to at the end. Saves me flicking through my notes. But there's quite a few things that will allow you to do that. Google Search Console will tell you certain things as well. So it's worth making sure you've got Google Search Console set up for your site or any sites you're working with if you're a developer. And there might be other kind of outside of the box things that you might want to think about when it comes to user experience. So for example, we've got a client we work with. I won't mention names, but we have on the mobile version of their site. So if you were to look on the mobile version of the site, you click on their site and most menus are at the top right-hand corner, top left-hand corner, that kind of thing. We actually have their menu structure at the bottom because it's actually easier for the thumb. So rather than reaching all the way up here, you're just coming down here. So it's easier for the thumb. And actually, if you own an Apple iPhone, you'll notice that Safari did this about a year or two ago. And loads of people moaned, oh, you know, they've taken the search bar at the top to the bottom. And it's for that very reason. So people can easily access it because your thumb isn't that long, unless you're really abnormal, have got really long thumbs. How long's your thumb?
No, I've got tiny thumbs. I need it right down at the bottom.
So you need it down the bottom. It's all about aiding user experience. So think outside the box as well. What's going to make my user's life easier to find out what they want to do, navigate around the site, take action, that kind of thing, because that will result in more inquiries, more action, but also Google uses it as a search signal. So user experience is absolutely key. Have I missed anything there? I don't think I have ever.
No.
Cool.
you've
Okay.
answered the question.
So going to jump on, move on even. Third thing, find the keywords you want to rank for. By the way, as I said, any questions, please place it in, anything. Right, third thing, find the keywords you want to rank for. So why is this important for starters? So what I will say is not every website needs to focus on search. Most websites it's important for, but you know, we build websites where the client knows that search isn't really an option because they don't, you know, they've done their research, they don't really get much from that. Maybe they don't want to grow to a certain level, maybe they just want to use it as a referral tool. It's not relevant for every website. However, when it is, what is absolutely crucial is that you do your research on the keywords that you want to rank for, and not just the ones you want to rank for that are relevant to you, that will actually get you traffic. Because if you don't, if you're targeting keywords, if you're not doing it, then you kind of hunting in, what's the term? Hunting in the dark? Yeah. If you actually do your research, you identify and target the keywords that you want to rank for, you can feed that into everything you do, and everything that we do kind of moving forwards on this presentation, the keywords kind of feed into that. So it's absolutely crucial that you work out what you want to rank for and what you want to improve. Now, there are tools that enable you to do this. We use Ahrefs. SEMrush will allow you to do this. We've got a couple of tools we'll give you at the end. But there are free tools that will allow you to find the keywords you want to rank for. And I'm not going to give you everything today, but
the next one of these we're going to do will be just keywords.
Yeah, the next one we're going to do is just going to be around keywords. We'll go into so much more depth. There are a few things that you can do. So in terms of strategies as an agency, one of the things we do is, number one, we will look at the keywords your website currently ranks for. So let's say it's abc.com. We'll put it into Ahrefs. We'll work out what it ranks for, and we'll look at what we call low-hanging fruit. And low-hanging fruit will be defined on the basis of they already rank for it, but probably beyond page 1, or they're at the bottom of page 1. It gets traffic. So we know those keywords are searched for each month, so they're relevant. And actually there's a metric that is referred to when you're doing your keyword research called keyword difficulty. And it's a difficulty factor based from 0 to 100 on how difficult it is to get that keyword on the first page of Google. And we will typically weigh off, and this is where we get a bit strategic, we'll weigh off a keyword versus where they currently sit on Google, the keyword difficulty versus the amount of traffic that keyword gets. And if that keyword difficulty is, let's say, 50 out of 100, and it gets 20 searches on average, we won't touch it with a barge pole because it's pointless. But if it's getting 100 searches a month and the difficulty rating is 5, then we'll explore it. What we'll also do is we'll start to cluster keywords. We don't just look at a singular keyword. We might initially, off the back of that research, but we'll start to look at a cluster of keywords. For example, we're working with a plumbing and heating company at the moment in Kettering, making some good inroads into their search. They're one of our smaller clients, but we deal with clients of, you know, all sizes, all shapes and sizes. And we have certain keywords that we're targeting at the moment: plumber Kettering, plumbers Kettering, plumbers in Kettering. We will almost group all of those together, those kind of shorter keywords, group them together, and our work will be based on all of those keywords, essentially. Because it's not just about the specific keywords, it's about relatable keywords as well. So one of the first things we would do is look at low-hanging fruit. What have you got there that you're already ranking for? What can we push up the search? And we'd adopt strategies, and some of these strategies I'll come on to in a bit. We'll adopt strategies that will help push up the search. That's one of the first things we look at. The second thing we would look at is suggested or alternative keywords that are quite similar. We might group them together and put them into the same kind of work. We might deal with them on an individual basis. Third thing we might look at, and you can use the same tools to identify this, we'll look at your competitors. Who are your top 3 competitors? We'll look at what they rank for, because again, it's great for working out certain keywords. How have they got there? you know, what pages are they pointing to? And then you can look at the page that keyword is, you know, that they're ranking for. Look at how have, you know, what have they built that page off the back of? What kind of content have they got on there? And you make better content and get it ranking, and you compare and contrast. The other thing to look at is things like long tail keywords, which are really good because they're generally less competitive. You can, if you focus on long tail keywords, it won't just be the long tail keyword that you'll be eventually ranked for. You'll get a lot of short tail keywords in there as well. So it's quite, it will rank for multiple keywords.
Is finding the long tail keywords the same method as finding the like the shorter keywords?
Well, yeah, in essence,
tool.
finding long tail keywords can be more challenging at times because when you put the obvious kind of keywords into your into things like Ahrefs or one of these keyword tools, sometimes it doesn't pull up the long tail keywords. A tool to use might be Answer the Public.
Yes.
So Answer the Public will come up with loads of different topics and questions and whys and whats and whens and wherefores that people are searching for. And you can use them as your long tail keywords and put them back into your keyword tool and see what people are searching for and see whether those kind of things are is actually getting traffic. But you might want to actually as well start typing something into Google. So if you type into Google a certain phrase, it will come up with suggested phrases below. And they are actually the most common phrases that are being searched for. So then take that phrase and put it into your keyword tool, find out what it's ranking for. Look at alternative suggestions, because, you know, if I'm looking for how do I save money on my heating, I might be looking for that. But Rebecca, your search term might be slightly different.
Money on heating bills.
There you go.
And doesn't start with a how, do you? It just goes straight to the point. Or save money heating.
Yes. So you want to look at suggestive and alternative kind of keywords or long tail keywords as well.
So does that mean if you had if you were writing content in a web page, you wouldn't just focus on how to save, you'd also use words like reduce bills instead of save money?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Let me park that one for a second, because in kind of a question or two's time, we're going to come on to that. So we'll park that for a second, we'll come back to it. But yeah, absolutely. And also, if you're, and again, this is something that we'll come on to shortly, if you're looking at long tail keywords and you kind of think, well, I'm a local business, long tail keywords, local people don't necessarily search as much for. Well, yes and no. I mean, long tail keywords are more prevalent, you know, nationwide. You're going to get more searches nationwide than locally. Local people might just look for plumber and catering, for example, but they're still going to be searching for that kind of stuff. The search volumes are just going to be lower potentially. But it will also create really good content that will generally get the website seen more. It will have a knock-on effect to the other pages on your site if you're interlinking between those kind of that blog, that article, and that those pages. It might also generate links, which I'll come on to in a short while, backlinks, which is really positive. So it does have, whether you're local or national, doesn't matter where you're selling, optimizing your website, improving your website for short tail and long tail keywords is really good. Long tail keywords, like I said, they're generally less competitive, a lot easier to rank for. So it's worth including that. And anything else I've missed there?
No, you have answered my questions.
Cool.
Very well.
So the fourth point is all about optimizing your existing content. So when you've done your keyword research, regardless of keyword research, your existing content needs to be optimized anyway. There's certain things that need to be done. You need to make sure you've got a meta description. You need to make sure you've got alt text filled in. But when you've done your keyword research, you can include that keyword research within the optimization of your existing content. And this is where you use your keywords that you're looking to rank for that specific page, take it page by page or article by article, and make sure those keywords are included. Right. However, coming back to what you said there, it's really important to not keyword flood. You don't want to just go plumber.
Are you searching for plumbers in Kettering?
Yeah.
Kettering plumbers. Yeah.
Okay. Plumber Kettering. You want to make sure it comes across natural. Google's algorithm is very clever, and it will it will identify whether or not you're inputting natural text. So you want to make sure it's natural. You want to use alternative keywords, relatable keywords, and that is where you start to kind of cluster your keywords. And yeah, you might have Kettering plumber, but actually there's going to be other stuff, you know, local plumbers in Kettering. There's going to be other relatable keywords that you may not have thought about that could potentially rank off the back of that page. So don't keyword stuff. Make sure you get those keywords in there, but use relatable keywords. Make your content come across naturally.
Do you think that if you were just starting out with this, starting with one or two, and building the content on that, and then going back and adding a little bit more in when you can, is a suitable way of getting started in it, rather than, or do you think you have to have like the whole thing all ready and all done, the whole web page with every single keyword you can find?
I mean, ideally, you want it done. However, search is an ongoing thing. You need to keep building content, which brings me on to my fifth point. Surely, you need to keep building content. However, how many hours are there in the day? You know, you've only got so much time to work on this. You've got an existing website, you're trying to improve it, just gradually work on it, gradually get through it. But it is crucial that you optimize your existing content based on the keyword research you've done. So it's a good question, Rebecca, but I would, you know, get through it when you can, essentially. Yeah. Now, you need to make sure that your page titles are set up. And when I say set up, you need to make sure you've got your keywords within there. Okay, and relatable keywords, but make it sound natural. Make sure you've got your page title set up. Make sure you've structured that web page in a certain way. So you've got H1 text towards the top. You've only got one H1 text, so that's one H1 title. You've then got various H2 titles. So you kind of want your main title is your H1 text, your subtitles are your H2 text. If you've got subtitles below H2 text, that's H3 text. You want to structure your content in a certain way. And again, within those kind of H1 titles, H2 titles, H3 titles, you want your keywords. You want your keywords in your content. You want some of your content and a snippet of your content above the fold. So when we scroll down a web page, just before we scroll, that bit at the bottom of your screen is called the fold. So we want some of your crucial content to be above the fold. These little things help to optimize that page. And we want some of your keywords within the kind of opening paragraph, opening line of that opening paragraph above the fold. So if you're not doing that, try and think about ways that you can push that content up slightly, because that will help. And these are almost little 1%ers, but they all come together to create a real positive experience on your website, and it helps it to rank better. So you also want images. You want different types of media, whether that's video. You want alt text against your images. That's alternative text. So Google can't read images, so they read the alt text behind it. So you need to make sure that's there. And again, make sure it describes that image, but also includes some of those keywords.
Yeah.
You also want to be linking within that content to other areas of your site and other relatable sites external to your site, especially if it's a blog, probably less so if it's a service page, because you don't want to be taking people off your site. If it's a service page, link elsewhere on your site, make it easy to get around. If it's a blog or an article, you might want to refer to other sites. That's a real positive. So link externally as well as internally, and try and have 3 or 4 internal links per page, per article. And if it's an article or a blog, make sure you've got a couple of 2 or 3 external links as well. It helps to build trust, and I'll come on to links shortly. As I said, do not keyword stuff, use relatable keywords as well, and just make sure your content that you've already got there, this is without even building on your content, because you do want to expand on your content. Yeah. And we'll come on to that in a second in point 5. Make sure that that content is as good as it can be and as well optimized as it can be. Any questions?
No.
No, cool. Let's move on. So point 5 is you need to build even more content. So you've got all of this done. You've done keyword research. You've optimized your current content. The most important thing with search is content, and building more content and building more content. The reason for this is Google views your website and directs people to users to your website based on the content. Yes, there's other factors like optimizing it, like links, like various other bits, but it's all about content. What kind of content can you create? So there's almost 2 types. There is expansions on existing content, and there's new content. So expansions to existing content. Let's say you've got a page, and we do this with every client. We look at every single page they've got, and we say, how can we expand on that? And typically it comes down to adding in a list of articles. So you've built articles that are relevant to that subject, and you display them cleverly on the page. So you'll have a section that says, do you want to find out more about this? Let's say it's about web design. So you've got your web design page that goes into loads of detail about your different web design services and packages. At the bottom or somewhere, you might have articles that are relevant to web design. So one of them might be how to plan for your website redesign.
How to start with your website design.
How to start with you know,
Website 101.
how to structure your new website. All about hosting and maintenance, you know, the next step to designing your website, that kind of thing. Articles that are relatable to that particular service or product. You might want to add in case studies. Case studies are great because again, it's just an opportunity to talk more naturally about that specific service or product. So case studies are great. And again, link that through to a case study page where you can talk even more about that. FAQs are fantastic. One of the first things we do is add FAQs to a site, and so many people don't have them. In fact, we're one of these companies where sometimes we neglect our own marketing, and it's something we're doing on our own sites at the moment. So FAQs are great because what do people ask more than anything on Google? They ask questions. So by including FAQs, you're more likely to get found. So FAQs are great, but also guides and articles. I would regard blogs and guides as something slightly different. Blogs are more opinion pieces. Guides are well-structured, kind of take you through step-by-step kind of thing. Yeah. That's how I define them. You know, I guess there are some similarities there. So that's kind of improving existing content. And then you've got creating new content. And that is where your blogs come into it, your guide, your articles, new pages. Think about your page structure. So for us, let's say we've got an SEO page. We'll have a page about SEO. And then we can include offshoots of that page. So child pages about link building, about content writing, and off of that we could do content writing. Could be
the difference between blogs and guides, articles, the different kinds of things you can. Yeah, okay, absolutely.
You've then got your guides and articles. You've got your blog. So it's creating new content. So child pages, parent pages, creating a better structure of pages around your website.
So this isn't a quick fix.
No,
you're not going to solve ranking. You can solve it in 7 steps, but they're not going to be an overnight thing. You've got to think really strategically about what you're creating.
You've got to sit down. If you're working with an agency, make sure you've sat down and talked through your strategy. Your strategy will change, it will adapt, but you need to talk through that. You need eyes on that. That's what we do for our clients. Whenever we sit down, we completely review their website, give them a health check, a bit of an audit, and we talk through our initial strategy. This is what we're going to be doing. Almost quick wins. Then this is what we're going to be moving on to, and it's over time that this, continues to work, and it's almost an endless project. Essentially, we've been working with. So one of our big clients is Franklin Solicitors in MK in Northampton. We have got them to the top of Google for a lot of searches relevant to them. They get a lot of traffic, organic traffic, and we've done that over a 6 or 7 year period where we continually worked on their search. And we're continually adding new things into the mix, and we're continually strategizing with them and adding new technique strategies into the mix to help them get found. And one of the key things I think you need to do here is it's all good and well building more content, and I hear this all the time from people that don't necessarily, or maybe they do, but they're just not being specific enough. There's a lot of marketeers out there. And maybe I'm going to be a bit controversial here, but there's a lot of marketers out there who say, blogging is so good for SEO, but they don't go into any detail as to why. Blogging is good for SEO if it's done a certain way. Don't just be one of those people that blogs for the sake of it. Blog for a reason. Build content for a reason. Have a reason to write. That's absolutely crucial. Have a reason to write. And that kind of links back to your keyword research.
Right.
Make sure that people are searching for the kind of thing that you want to get found for. And more important than ever, when you're building more content, do what we do. We attempt to build best on the web content. Best on the web content.
Mean? How do you actually find out? How can you possibly write the best on the web content?
So it's a term that's quite subjective for starters, because how do you decide whether content is the best on the web? Well, essentially, if it's appearing at the top of Google, it's probably going to be best on the web, because Google's quite good at these kind of things, but not necessarily. Like I said, it's quite subjective. Look at, if you're relating it to a keyword, a long tail keyword or a short tail keyword, look at what your competitors at the top of Google have published. There might be other factors that are getting them there, like links or other particular factors, but have a look at what they've published and produce better content than them. It's that simple. Like I said, it is quite subjective, but you will know whether you've built better content there. So if there are, look at the top 5, for example, look at what they've built, look at the content they've written, and if they've included 10 FAQs, include 12. If they've included 2,000 words in content, make sure it's good value, you know, make sure it's really good content, but build 2,500. If they haven't got articles on there, make sure you've got relatable articles on there. If they haven't got a video, add a video. Make sure your content is better than the other content on the web. That's how you get ranked more. And like I said, there might be other contributing factors as to why you don't beat them to the top spot. But from a content perspective, that's all you can do. Write the best content on the web.
Well, if you use one of these software tools to see how you're ranking and your keywords, you can put that in with your competitor and see which competitors are against you for that keyword.
Yes.
You can then move to a different keyword, and you might find that you've got different competitors for that.
Absolutely. So this is why it's kind of an ongoing thing. Focus on one thing at a time, build content for that. If you've got a particular search term that you want to get found for, build the best on the web content for that. But again, different search terms, you might find different competitors. You might need to kind of benchmark against different people.
Okay.
But everything that we do from a marketing perspective, I say the easiest thing, the easiest way to get ideas, to get inspiration is, and it works in the same way with SEO, look at your competitors. And in this context, if you want to build better content, look at what your competitors are doing and do even more. That's what we do. Don't copy, but do better.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm going to jump onto links, and more links. So for those that don't understand the concept of link building or backlinks and why it's important, backlinks are links, essentially links from other websites through to yours. It's as simple as that. You could also have internal links that link from some of your articles through to your service pages, and that is also important. It's an important ranking factor. But backlinks is what I'm referring to more so here. Why are they important? It helps to build trust. Google wants to find, display and show websites based on search terms that are inputted that are trustworthy and that are going to answer the question that that user has. And the trust factor is gained through a number of different things, reviews, for example, and that was my 8th point that I'm going to come on to, but also links coming through to your site from other websites. Now, there are 2 different types of links, what we call follow links and no follow links. The difference is they both have an impact. Follow links, much more of an impact, but no follow links, they're not bad. They're still good in a sense, but they don't have anywhere near the kind of impact the follow links have. But it's good to have a kind of a varied profile. Follow links are links that other websites put in to direct people through to your website from their content, and it encourages Google to go and almost crawl your website off the back of that. No follow links do the opposite. It provides a link, but it says to Google, don't go and crawl this website. Don't give this website any credit, kind of thing. But they are still important to a point. Now, building links is easy and difficult. It's an easy concept. Essentially, you just want another website to link through to your website with a link, and we want the anchor text. So the anchor text is the words that are hyperlinked. We want the anchor text to be relevant, so a keyword of sorts. Now, the concept is easy. It's as simple as that. Just get someone to link through.
Easier said than done.
But it's easier said than done because it's a bit of a ball ache. It's a bit of a grind. There are a number of different types of, different ways that you can build links. I'm going to go through a few of them. I'm not going to delve into them in too much detail because that will kind of come with one of our lunch learns. And I'm wary of time today because we've got about 10 minutes left.
And you've added an 8th point to our 7th
And I've
step.
added an 8th point to our 7th step. PR is one of them. PR on local news outlets and national news outlets. If you can get them, they're incredibly powerful to a point. That might generate a link through to your website. Niche edits is a process that backlinkers, SEOs go through to identify content that's relevant on other websites that don't have links at the moment, or they have broken links. And it's a process whereby we get in touch with the web team and say, why not use this link on our website or our client's website to link through? It adds more value. Now, the benefit to them is it's going to add value and power to their website because they've no longer got a broken link. We've identified that broken link and you're linking through to a really good resource. The benefit for us is we get a backlink. Niche edits is good. Directories don't carry anywhere near as much power anymore, but they do still to a point, especially if you're a local business. Local directories is good. It's important there to make sure that you have the same, we call it NAPS, name, address, phone number. Make sure the same details are structured in the same way across all directories. But they do carry some relevance. Guest posts, guest blogs, if you've got a business that is in the same industry, but maybe does something different and you can work with them, leverage a relationship and kind of guest blog with them, that does help. You provide the blog, they get the content, which is great for their website. They link through to yours, no skin off their nose. Social links as well. Social links are no follow links. They don't carry any weight, in terms of a follow link. But one of the things it does show is by being active on social and getting people to kind of jump through to your website, it tells Google that people want to visit your website, and it carries kind of power and weight in that respect. And again, it leads on to, are people bouncing off your website? How long are people on your website for? There are other ranking signals that can be, at play here. There are a number of different tools you can use to identify how many backlinks you've got on your website. SEMrush will do it. There's also another one. I dropped my pen. The other one was, I've lost it. Oh, darn. I can't remember what it's called. Did I note it down?
No,
Use SEMrush. SEMrush is great.
yeah.
It's got a free tool that will allow you to find out what links you've got. A key question here would be, how many links is good? Benchmark it versus your competitors. For some companies, you can get away with 10. For some companies, it has to be thousands. We've got thousands. It depends on what you're looking to rank for, how easy it is to rank for. There are a number of kind of ranking metrics that come into play here as well when you're looking at kind of links. If you're looking to generate a link through to your site, if you can do it yourself, or even if an agency is doing it for you, you want to look at what we call a domain authority, which is basically a metric from 1 to 100 or 0 to 100 that says how good that website is. Most small businesses pitch at around about the 20 to 30 mark or 1 to 30 mark. I think we're about 50 actually. We've got a really strong website. Go us. But when we do backlinking, we want to try and encourage the higher quality links. But if you're a local business, you want local links as well, because that's quite important. But domain authority of over 20, over 30 is stuff we'd prioritize. And you also want to make sure that if you're doing that kind of stuff, you look at how much traffic that website's getting through, how much stuff they rank for, because that's relevant as well. They might have a high domain authority, but get 0 traffic, in which case it's kind of not relevant. It might carry some weight, but nowhere near as much as it could.
Is that the same with keywords? If you were looking at keywords and they had a high domain rate, but they weren't getting any traffic, choose them.
So keywords don't have, you want to choose keywords based on keyword difficulty and high traffic levels.
Right, okay.
So it's the link, the actual link URL, your web link that carries a domain authority.
Okay.
Okay. But what is important there is if you've got a keyword, so it kind of does come into play in a way, if you've got a keyword that you want to rank for, and there's 5 of the websites that you're competing with have got a very high domain authority, it's probably more likely to make that keyword quite difficult to achieve. Okay. But these are the kind of metrics you need to be looking at. It can get a bit complicated, backlinking. 9 times out of 10, people go to agencies for it. They don't do it internally. But like I said, the concept is quite easy. It's difficult in terms of its, what's the word I'm looking for here? In terms of doing it.
I don't know.
It'll come back to me in a bit.
Doing it.
Yeah, doing it. There you go.
Putting it into place, putting it into
Put
practice.
into practice. There you go. Leveraging relationships here is key. Another, one strategy you could adopt is if you've got a customer per se, you might want them to add onto your website a testimonial with a link. It's great. You can use keywords. It's great for them. It's great for you.
Yeah.
Another thing you might want to look at. Right. We've got 5-6 minutes left. We've only got a couple of things to go through. I'm going to be really brief on this because I want to come on to an 8th point. The 7th thing I was going to mention was test, measure, and repeat. There are a number of tools that you can do to measure your progress. Google Search Console will help you with clicks, impressions, average position, keyword position that you're ranking for. SEMrush has a free and a paid version. The free version will give you an idea on the links that you've got. There are other, just search on Google, free backlinking tool. It will help you search for competitor backlinks. One of the things we do as a strategy is we look at the competitors, our competitors, what backlinks they've got, and we think they've got it. Can we get it for our clients? SEMrush will also give you details on keywords and rankings. Google Analytics will look at traffic and engagement. So there's a number of different tools there you can use to test, measure, and repeat. But I'm going to come quite quickly onto my 8th point, which I totally missed off here, and I'm really annoyed. Social is a factor, but more importantly, or more specifically, your Google business profile. If you are a local business and you can get a Google business profile, use it. First of all, encourage reviews. Have a review strategy. This is something we work with on our clients, making sure they have a review strategy. When they write reviews, respond to them. Respond to them with keywords. Keep it natural. So, for example, if someone said to us, fantastic designing our website, blah, 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 we would go back to them and say, we absolutely love designing your website. Now, I'm so pleased we're now looking at the next step, which is looking at how your website performs on search. So it's using keywords within there. Don't just say, thanks for the review. Make it specific. Utilize keywords, talk to people in a natural way. So encourage reviews, respond to reviews, and make sure you're posting on your Google business profile once a week, because that will carry weight as well. So that was the 8th point I was going to put in. Just a couple of other things, just some tools that we may or may not have mentioned. So if you want to track your keywords or check your keywords, SEMrush, as I said, is good. It's got a keyword magic tool. Answer the Public is good for long tail keywords. So if you want to look at the questions that people are asking on Google, Answer the Public is good. If you want to do an audit on your website, something we do for any new customer, SEO Optimer, so SEO PTIMER. Yeah, there you go. It's great. It reviews your site for any issues, site-based issues. It helps us scrape the surface quite quickly so there's issues with the site. SEO Mator, SEO MATOR is another thing that does exactly the same. We use SEO Optimer. In terms of page speed, Google Page Speed tool is the best one out there. It can be very harsh. You might have things on your website that's going to slow it down naturally. Bear that in mind. We've got, for whenever we do any work in the legal industry, we do quite a lot in the legal industry. There are certain things within it that, so for one of our clients, they've got a legal logo, which slows their website down by a second, which is really annoying because it's a snippet of code. It's not actually, it's like an iframe. It's not actually a logo per se, it just displays a logo. They have to, by law, display it. Every legal website does. Every legal website is slowed down by about, I think it's 0.8 seconds because of this, and we can't do anything about it. It's infuriating. So there's certain things that you're not going to be able to do anything about. Web chat is a piece of functionality is going to slow your website down. Any tools you might have on there, contact forms, Google Analytics, even having that installed slows your website down. Stuff like that slows your website down. So bear in mind, there's a give and take here. You can't have it to be instant loading, but try and get it as close to 2 seconds and below as possible. So yeah, Google Page Speed tool will do that. GT Metrics as well will help you with that. Pingdom has a tool. So there's quite a few. Oh, I'm exhausted. I feel like I've talked. Right, over our next 7 lunch and learns, we're going to delve into each topic into a bit more depth, into a lot more depth. And the next one, the 25th of April, is all about understanding how to find, choose, and use the right keywords. We're going to delve into this, like I said, in so much depth. We're going to look at the keywords and we're going to look at the next steps. It's not just about the keywords. It's about what do we do next? What do we physically do next? And we're going to go into a lot of detail about it. So join us on Thursday, the 25th of April for another free lunch and learn. Thank you so much for engaging with us today. I hope you found it useful. Please put in the chat. We'll stay on for a couple of minutes. Put in the chat if you've got any questions.
Yeah.
If there's anything specific that you found useful, we'd love to hear it. And if you can, we'd love it if you write us a review on Google as well. Just, you don't have to write a review of our services if you haven't used us before. Just about Lunch and Learn. We'd love to hear what your thoughts were. So thank you very much for joining us. Any questions, feel free to jump into my LinkedIn DMs or Rebecca's LinkedIn DMs and chat to us, personally. But thanks, guys. I really appreciate
Thanks, everyone.
you staying on, staying engaged. And
nice
hopefully we'll see you next week.
Easter weekend.
Yeah, have a lovely Easter weekend. Don't eat too many eggs. We've already had cream eggs today because Chloe brought them in. Thank you, Chloe.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.